the scene. Everything you need to know about the music industry and more. Of course, I am Gunz here, joined by Sullivan and, of course, Dicky Barrett from the My Boss Zones and the Defiant. Listen,
that's
fellas,
me ripping off Dicky's song.
I believe I've heard that once or twice in my life. Yes, absolutely.
Is that weird for you to hear?
Me doing it? I actually enjoy it.
Well, I know you do because I know you now. But
Yeah.
I know, and I got the first text when we sent you that begging you to be in the video.
Yeah.
Which
I don't think it went like that. You asked me, you sent me the song.
From our side, we were.
I didn't know who this guy was.
I know. That's
I heard
the
the
point.
song.
That was it.
I was positive I was going to hate it. I ended up going. They did a very, very good job. I enjoyed it. And then you and Rick sent me a request for me to be in the video. And I go, how heavy is the lifting going to be? And you go, not very much. We'll come out and see you and where you live. And you showed up, and we fell in love.
But you didn't realize how big of a person you were in my life. I've said this before. Doing talk radio for me for 30 years. He was my rejoiner music every day. Didn't know.
Yeah.
I knew it was him. A guy playing horn and a dancer, one of my favorite bands, and number one hit. I mean, it was.
But at this point, I'm pretty much a disappointment, though.
No, not at all. You're one of my closest friends, number one.
Yeah,
thank you.
Just like Gunz. And hey, I love your guest list.
Yeah, and what's really interesting coming off of what you just said is you've been able to now take this show out on the road, literally. Sullivan's been touring with Goldfinger and more, been able to rock this out. You just played Dallas not too long ago, sold out audience. You were there.
He's at every show.
Allow me to
came out with
testify.
it. It was a lot of fun, and that leads us perfectly into Scott Friedman from Ticket Talk and the Ticket Talk Network, who we're going to be speaking with right now, because there is something going on with the live ticketing industry right now. Tickets, not for Sullivan shows or Goldfinger shows or Boston shows or whatever that might be, but tickets elsewhere are getting out of hand, out of control. It's affecting everybody. You want to go see Olivia Rodrigo, it's going to cost you $1,100 a ticket in some instances.
I'm so glad I don't want to go to that.
Thank God for that. But Scott Friedman here from the Ticket Talk Network. My man, how you doing, man? Welcome, of course, to Behind the Scene with Dicky, Sully, and myself.
Gunz, thanks for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure, and stoked to be on the show this afternoon.
Yes, absolutely. Looking forward to this. Listen, I should say unexpectedly what happened the other day when the Department of Justice ended up settling with Ticketmaster and Live Nation over the claims of them having a monopoly. But was it really unexpected, though? What do you think, Scott? Talk to us about this.
There's a few legs to the story. So, technically, I mean, I'm friendly with Dan Wall, the head of general counsel for Live Nation. And obviously a couple weeks ago, they had a deal all strapped, about $280 million settlement to put the judgment behind and let Live Nation and Ticketmaster operate per usual, besides of giving up a couple of concessions of just amphitheater stuff, nothing really serious, giving Ticketmaster only a 4-year contract instead of a 10-year contract. Very minor adjustments where Live Nation and Ticketmaster continue to run their monopoly. But see, the states are appealing it. There's 25 states that are appealing the judgment, and obviously that's still working its way out in court. But my opinion is that the states will obviously settle. Ticketmaster, Live Nation will settle with them, maybe pay a little bit more money, maybe $100 million more, $200 million more, I don't know. But they have a bankroll that where money grows on trees, and nothing will affect them. And I assume, unfortunately, it will be business as usual for Ticketmaster and Live Nation here in the upcoming weeks after they settle.
Is there? Can I ask a question? Sully here from Sullivan, and I want to ask: as Johnny Lunchbucket looking to buy tickets for, let's just say, I want to get my kids some tickets somewhere. Is there any chance I could get a face value ticket on like the second row? Let's say I just got a big bonus and I wanted to spend a little bit of dough. Is there any way, if they wanted to go see, let's pick it out, Panic at the Disco or Taylor Swift and sit in the front row, do I have a chance at buying a ticket at the intended cost that the artist wanted me to pay?
So that statistic here, with all the bad actors going on with Ticketmaster and all the bots that have literally snap of a finger, they pick up the ticket. So you probably have about a 99.9% no chance of
God, you got me fired up there for a minute.
Unless you can really click faster than the bots for those scenarios. 99.9% no, you have no chance of getting those tickets on Ticketmaster for those outlier shows.
Did you, when you were number one?
This is horrible news, Scott.
Right?
All of this is really bad news, and it seems like they're acting with impunity, and they're not afraid. And if I felt like they were at least on the ropes before that decision, and now they're not. And also, there's people that work for the company that are bragging online of how they're putting the screws to people every time they sell these tickets. Sure. So what do we do? Let's cut to the chase.
Well, here's the deal. I mean, the FTC did sue Ticketmaster, so that case is obviously ongoing, and that kind of moves the loot to get rid of the bots. But since that lawsuit happened really last fall, about 6 months ago, it is still business as usual. Not much has changed. If you look at the Jay-Z queue today, 800,000 people in there. See, not 800,000 total people. Probably 300,000-400,000 of those were bots going after those tickets right away. So until the FTC does anything to crack down on Ticketmaster for stopping bots, it'll be business as usual until that happens.
What's wild about the whole entire thing is we're not even joking about when we say it is definitely a monopoly going on. Like, everyone agrees that it's a monopoly, but nothing is happening from it. And in the end, it's the fans who are going to get screwed. Now, were you surprised that a deal was made? Personally, I wasn't. I mean, it's an election year. Also, the fact of the matter is, I feel like they were going after Ticketmaster and Live Nation. That's only, Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's really only, if you're going to fight the war, I don't know if that's the war to fight right now, because it's not like they were going to break up.
Was there a net to the consumer off of that?
Like, they weren't going to break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster right now. I think a way to do it, as we were just saying before, is maybe do legislation against the bots specifically. Maybe try and limit them, or the secondhand ticketing market where you're talking your StubHub and your Vivid Seats and whatnot. What do you think the best course of action should have been, and where do they take it from here so that the fans can actually go see a show and not have to give up a month's rent to go to that show?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your first part of your question, obviously the Trump administration, I mean, Mike Rapino, Live Nation donated $500,000 to the campaign. So obviously they lobbied in Trump's pocket. They hired Kellyanne Conway. They did all they could to get this lawsuit to rest between Live Nation and the DOJ, obviously with everything going on with the corruptness of politics these days. But really, for this to make a change, it really is the separate lawsuit between the FTC and Ticketmaster, which started in the fall. But honestly, business as usual. There's nothing. When the lawsuit came out in the fall between the FTC and Ticketmaster, I thought bots days were coming to an end. It was over. FTC will lay the smackdown. But you truly were here in March of 2026. Business as usual. 800,000 people in the queue for Jay-Z today. It just, for outlier shows, it just keeps getting worse and worse, and nothing is being done. We obviously challenge Ticketmaster every single day. What are you doing about this? They keep on just kind of saying, we're working on it, it's complex, yada, 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 just giving a bunch of BS excuses. And until something is done, it just will be always out of hand to fight the outlier acts that happen. And they're about 30, 40 a year, where it's next to impossible to get a face value ticket on the primary in Ticketmaster.
Scott, maybe I should know this better than you, but where are the artists, where are the Eddie Vedders, the modern day Pearl Jams that fought Ticketmaster and fought the monopolies at one time? Where are they, and what are they saying, and why isn't anybody stepping up, and why aren't they furious that that Live Nation donated this money to Trump, and now Trump is backdooring them like this? Where are those people?
Good question. Pearl Jam took a huge stance back in the 90s.
Yeah.
They tried to build their own ticketing system, literally tried to change everything by operating their own Ticketmaster, their own ticketing system, etc. However, they just realized where monopoly when Ticketmaster, Live Nation, when Live Nation owns like 95% of all the venues across the United States, it would be next to impossible to play shows. Swear, what are they going to play in a cornfield? So there's where the problem is.
So wait. That brings up a good point, though, because I think something I learned from you or maybe one of our last guests was when these artists or promoters book a venue, they're not booking the venue specifically. They're booking straight through the Live Nation thing, right? I mean, it's almost like there's no way to skip it. As a consumer, am I understand that correctly?
Exactly. There's no way for the artist to skip it. There's just not enough venues that are not Live Nation owned to skip it. And
So then isn't the problem, to your point, the bots? Aren't the bots the
bots are
problem?
amazing.
I mean, if they got rid of any artificial way to scoop up tickets faster than Johnny Lunchbucket, Cindy CEO,
Right.
then Live Nation and such and Ticketmaster and such would not be culpable, would they? Or would they still?
They wouldn't be. And obviously there's theories that they love the bots because they buy tickets to everything. They buy tickets to low demand shows also. So they're just, in my theory, they're just trying to hide behind it and obviously act when they're forced to. But they obviously know that bots are buying tickets every day. They're just not doing anything about it. And the FTC right now, as we know it, aren't being aggressive enough to shut them down. Now, that could change. That could change tomorrow. That could change a year from now, 2 years from now. But as of March of 26, it's status.
Scott, nothing is going to get changed this year. It is an election year, and you know as well as we do that the ticketing lobby is it's up there with Big Pharma and the Big War. Like, I mean, in the lobbying power, nothing is going to get changed because every politician wants the money right now, especially for the reelection. So nothing, it will just keep getting delayed.
Nice.
Let's be honest.
And there's still people listening or watching. They're going to say to themselves, then why don't the artists just protest and not you? But they can't. They wouldn't get any shows, correct? I mean, it's a catch-22, right?
It's a catch-22. They're basically forced to play. Their Live Nation owns 95% of venues in the U.S. Where are they going to play? That's exactly right.
Excellent, Scott, and excellent, young Gunz. Excellent point. Can you quickly speak on the jackasses that my algorithm served up? And I heard them talking about how, just on a whim, they'll just jack up prices. Where's that story at? And did those two guys get outed or ousted or what happened there, Scott?
Yeah, so I'm hearing Mr. Baker's no longer an employee of Live Nation. Obviously, there was that Slack correlation that came out here a couple of weeks ago where they were talking smack by bragging by gouging the fans on parking for several amphitheater tours across the U.S., gouging everything else. As far as I know from my sources, Mr. Baker is no longer with Live Nation. The other employee is still employed by Live Nation as far as I know.
Okay. You're excellent, Scott. What a great guest.
Scott Friedman here, of course, from Ticket Talk and the TicketTalkNetwork.com that you can check out. I do want to ask you this, though. Has the tide turned so much that eventually fans or artists feeling it from the fans that, one thing that you do for anyone that follows you on social media is you keep posting Zach Bryan, all the empty seats, or Kid Rock, all the empty seats. There's a ton of empty seats out there right now because whether the secondary markets just bump them up too much or whatnot might it be. Have they been facing backlash? And what will be the final, what is that line where artists have to eventually be like, hey, this is really screwing our bottom dollar as well?
Absolutely. And there's a layer of, we can talk all day long about ticketing distribution. We can talk about how the secondary for the shows like Zach Bryan and Kid Rock fit because they just don't have any demand on the primary. And the resellers and bots are forced to lower their prices where fans pay cheaper prices. But that doesn't happen for the 30, 40 outlier shows per year. They're getting gouged. The bots are making all the money. But in the scenario you're talking for acts that underperform, the secondary market is a benefit for fans, but it's not the case for the 30, 40 outlier shows that fans are begging to get tickets for, that they stand no chance of getting them against the bots on Ticketmaster every day.
Hey, Scott, we got to get you on every single show we produce.
Keep sounding the alarm, Scott.
I'm not kidding.
Great stuff, buddy. Yeah.
Shout it from every mountaintop. You're an awesome guy.
Ticket Talk Network, the only network that covers all major live events, from concerts to sporting events to theater shows. They eat, sleep, breathe tickets every day, 24 hours, 7 days a week.
There it is right there. Appreciate you, Scott Friedman. It is Gunz here, of course. It is Behind the Scene. And we're going to be talking with Sitting on Saturn coming up next.